Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space, created weekly, is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the Becoming Your Strong podcast. And surprise, I've got a guest interview this week with one of my favorite people in the entire world, Miss Olivia Zamora. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I'm truly honored to be on the podcast. I'm just excited to chat through some stuff today.
Yeah, I was having a conversation about this last night. It's like I've always wanted to have you on this. I haven't shared this with you, but it was just like waiting for that right moment. And I feel like some of the conversations we've just had over the last couple of weeks and then what we accomplished this weekend, it was like, this is the time, this is the opportunity. And we'll jump into a little bit more of the magic that happened this weekend. Although I'm sure many of you, if you follow us on social media, you know the cool things that we just accomplished. But I just want to have a fun conversation for you guys, all of my listeners, to get to know Olivia, because she's pretty freaking awesome if you don't know her already. And what I love about Olivia is that she's newer to the hybrid racing space. And so while I have, about 2 years underneath my belt, like she has about a full year underneath her belt. So she's just a tad bit behind us. So for those of you that are starting off your journey, I mean, listening to her story and some of the things that we're going to talk about today, I think is going to be really impactful. So with that, let's just jump right in. Let's just hear about who you are, Olivia. Like, tell us about you, where you come from, how you got into hybrid racing, all the things.
Okay, yeah, totally. I live in Colorado. Kayla is my coach, so that is really nice to be in state for that. But so I live in Colorado, grew up in Colorado. My athletic background, I think growing up had a good role model in my mom, just encouraging fitness and just healthy eating. So that I've always been exposed to that, but it was never really a huge part of my life. Grew up doing sports, and then in high school I did basketball, and that was always super fun. But moving into college, I just kind of started doing a lot of solo workouts. And if you know me at all, you know that I do not like running, and I would go on a treadmill by myself in the college gym and run, and I just hated it so much. But that's all I knew. I was I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna get on this thing and torture myself for a little while.
You go.
But so in college, yeah, I did a lot of solo workouts and just kind of lonely and boring, didn't really know what I was doing, but it definitely just helped me put working out into my routine. So I'm super grateful for that part of the experience. Post college, I started getting into some fitness classes and things like that, and just going to a local rec center, which was nice because I enjoyed the community, and then some of the diversity that going to a fitness class can encourage. I'm not limited by what I know how to do. I can, be coached by the trainer or whoever's leading the class. But I started to get kind of bored even with that, and I was just I work out in the mornings, and so it's hard to get up and need something to motivate me. And so I was just I'm looking for something new. I want to do something fun, and I want to make friends and build community. And the rec center I was doing the fitness classes at is actually where I met Kayla. Yay, best day of my life.
Yay.
So I started going to a couple of Kayla's classes, and then just started getting to know her and learning about her involvement with DEKA and just her fitness journey as well, and just felt really inspired and excited. And so then I kind of was this sounds fun, this sounds interesting, and that kind of aligned with some of Kayla's goals, where she was looking to I guess where you were looking to coach people and all that. So that kind of aligned perfectly, and we connected and started working together. And I just saw the joy and the fun and the challenge that DEKA and hybrid racing was going to bring. And boy, did it challenge me. Like, boy, did it like meet my expectations as far as like how hard it was gonna be.
Yep.
And so that's kind of like the little bit of the story how I got into it. And it's been a year now, and I've truly enjoyed like every second of it. And well, I don't know if I've enjoyed every second of
Who's
it
to
because I've
say?
been dying through a lot of it, and it's been really painful.
Yep.
But like in a good way. Like after I'm done, uh, I feel great and encouraged and usually ready to do the next thing after I recover for a bit. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into hybrid, and I'm super excited to be where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And so you had a very amazing first year, right? And I think that that speaks to just your character, your ability to be open to coaching and feedback. Also, just like it's vulnerable sometimes to reach out to people for help and take in that coaching. And you were like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that what I'm doing right now isn't exciting me. And I want to like take this leap in and get uncomfortable. And so, like, all of that mixed together allowed for you to have what I would say was an amazing first breakout season as an athlete. Do you want to share just some of the things that you accomplished last season?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I would say that all of my accomplishments, I was not anticipating that at all. Like I was just like, oh yeah, like I'll try this out and it'll be fun. And then I ended up like um getting pretty deep into it and working with you as a coach, and I wasn't really expecting that to be like long term either. I was just like, let me just try this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I ended up going to world championships in December last year, and I won my age group for the DEKA Strong, which was so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also did the DEKA Mile at World Championships. I got like sixth place in my age group there, which I was proud of.
Yeah, we survived
Just
that race.
I was proud to just have like showed up for that. And then also it was so fun and such a huge accomplishment to get third place in elite strong teams with you,
Yeah.
and sitting on that podium. That was crazy cool. Just being alongside like so many just awesome athletes,
Mm-hmm.
and so to even have just like gotten to line up next to them was really cool. And then yeah, I've just like expanded a little bit. I did the strong ruck this year. I'm going to do the DEKA Atlas. And so even just doing those off the first for the first races, that's an accomplishment for me. So
For sure.
yeah, and
And
we just set a world record
yeah,
too. So that's like sort of within the first year, but that's pretty crazy. We can talk about that more in a little bit, but
yeah.
can't forget about that one.
For sure. Yeah. That's gonna come. We're gonna have a deeper conversation around that. I think one of the coolest things about being a coach and a mentor to someone is, again, you get to see not only like the light bulbs turn on as like they start to unlock things and figure things out, they physically start to get faster, stronger, better, but you start to see them evolve as like a person. You start to see the way that they conversate, how they think about things and view the world around them change. And that's one thing I've been really excited to watch you do. It almost feels like I'm like the big sister in this situation where, you know, we have a lot of conversations around things, and then I see you apply it, and while it's frustrating at first, you start to like take it and you run with it. And so one of the most special moments for me, like people asked me last year, like, what was the best part of last season? And no doubt it was like, yeah, it was really cool to cross the line as world champion for the ruck last year, but being able to turn around and see just the confidence. You were so dialed, you were so confident in what you were doing. And it was just like, I knew immediately before you even got on the bike, I was like, she's going to win this. Like I just had that feeling, and I have goosebumps thinking about it now, and just being able to wait there for you at the finish line and just embrace in that moment, like, best video, best pictures ever. I have to imagine that within this last year of you doing all this, that you feel those shifts and you've recognized those changes. And so I'm curious to know if you were to give some key ingredients to people of like whether it's mindset or things you've done within your routine, just anything at all, like what is your recipe for success that you feel like has gotten you to this point where now you can go after world records and additional titles and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Well, two things I want to say that are kind of funny, but First of all, the fact that we got any decent pictures after I finished that race is is a miracle because I typically look like a
Yes.
zombie after my race, and everybody knows. Like you, obviously, are always like uh, smiles all the way, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dead. So the fact that we got a good picture is like freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then another thing about that race, that moment coming across the finish line is really special to me as well. But before I started my race, you were doing your rec
Hmm.
race. And so I just got to like listen because they're like, the announcers are like announcing everything that's happening. And I just remember like being on the start line and the guy being like, Kayla Cittadino just on another level and
Yeah.
like crosses the finish line. She's world champion. And so like to have my race like sandwiched between that moment of you winning and then like me getting to cross the finish line first and just like see you at the end of it was just that was just so cool.
The best lineup
Um
ever.
yeah, seriously,
Do that again
couldn't
next year, Deka. We'll take that. Although this year you're going to be on the starting line with me for the Rock. I know that.
oh
So,
boy, yeah, we'll see. um but back to your question, which is like key ingredients for success. I think you touched on this like at the beginning of our conversation, but just like a willingness to learn and like an open-mindedness, I think has really like just kicked off my training and my experience in the sport so far. Like I pretty much would do whatever you told me to do. You know, like if you told me to just sit on the bike and not pedal for 45 minutes and that was going to help me, I would do it. And then
yeah,
and or if you told me to, you know, I don't know, do something crazy. If you told me to run, even though you know I hate running, I will do the run. So yeah, I think just like a commitment to just like trusting my coach and just being willing to like try new things, different movements, lift different weights, and
Mhm.
that's definitely challenged me. But it's also been really cool to be like, oh, I've never done that before, and I just tried it and I survived, and so that's a really great feeling afterward. I think the second thing is just starting to build community and like recognizing the support that's around me. That's been so
Absolutely.
helpful. People telling me I can do things that I never thought I could do, or um, just that encouragement is awesome. And I'd say like most of the people in my life aren't like into this
No,
into hybrid racing. They're not into like competing at this level or anything. So to start to meet people who are kind of aligned with me on that is really nice. Because then otherwise it'll be like all the conversations that I'll have will be like, oh my god, you're so crazy, like I could never do that, like all this stuff. And instead it kind of shifts to like, let's do this together, and like we push each other and that kind of thing.
yeah,
So build it, willingness to learn, building community. And then also when I think back to like really like um those really like big moments, like winning things and like
mhm,
having these really huge accomplishments, like every time that those have gone really well, it's been just letting go of the outcomes
mm,
and asking for help with the footwork. Like for me, I like, and we're doing like some spiritual work and like higher power stuff. And so whatever that is for you or whatever you call that, like for me, I have to just be like, you know, let go of the outcomes and ask for help with the footwork. And the footwork is like the training or just, you know, lining up on the start line or lifting the thing or getting on the bike or whatever. And so asking for help with that and from people and from higher power has really gotten me. I think that's a huge key to the success for me.
absolutely. Yeah, the letting go of the outcome is the one that I've always struggled with, but when I do it, like this weekend, when I let go of the outcome and I was just like, we just like hugged before we went and I was just like, we're just here. We get to share the space. We get to do the things that we love. It's been the first time that we've done that. I mean, we did it with the engine failure challenge, but this is the first time with where we do what we do best since
Mhm.
world championships. And I just want to enjoy every single moment of it. So I think that that's absolutely huge. And before we, again, I know we're like getting more excited about talking about this world record thing and how this came about, but you brought up something really important. And this has been one of, I think, the more impactful conversations we've had as of recently, which is that community piece that you mentioned. And when you depart from college or just, certain seasons of your life and you start to take on new things and you start to evolve as a human being, there's that need or that pressure to keep those people that were in that last season of your life a part of it, because it's like, well, these are my best friends. These are the people that I grew up with, etc. And what you kind of mentioned to me the other day is how that's hard because you feel like you're shifting interests and you're shifting kind of who you are and how you show up. And that doesn't always align with the people that have been in your life up until this point. And so I'd love to just hear from your perspective, even after our conversations, like how you've been navigating that, because I think that that is very real for a lot of people in the
Mhm.
space, like you mentioned, of going from I'm really passionate about this sport or what I'm doing, and people just don't get or understand me. So how are you navigating that right now?
Yeah, no, this is hard, and it's like it's a tricky experience, and I think I see myself growing and I see myself evolving in a positive way, and I just like have people in my life who are also growing, and they're also growing in a positive way, but it's just like in a different direction than
Yeah.
me, which is totally okay. But it's a little bit sad because I'm not doing the same activities that I used to do. And I was doing those activities with these other people who are still doing those and are not interested in
Thank
dying
you.
on they're not interested in um blowing up their heart or their lungs with me.
Yeah.
um so yeah, it's been tricky, but I've been trying to really lean into um I've been trying to lean into letting go of some of that to make room and make new
Mm.
space for new things. Um Whether it's new people, it's new like activities, new opportunities, new emotions, like there's a bunch of new like feelings and stuff that comes up for me during this whole experience. So it's like, okay, this is an opportunity to like take a look at this and figure out like just deeper rooting of that. But I have met some really great people, and some of the people who are like my OG people have actually expressed some sort of interest. I just like did a race with one of my best friends, Lander, this weekend, and that was
Awesome.
amazing. We did so good, and I'm so proud of that experience. But yeah, no, it is challenging to also like see a part of myself like go away or like change. And so I have to like just be at peace with that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, trusting the process again, I think it
Yeah.
goes back to trust, letting go. I also think too, which is something I was curious in hearing about, is the balance, right? Like you're getting married
Mhm.
later this year. You obviously have a job in addition to all the training that you do with these big goals. How do you find the balance? I mean, have you struggled with finding the balance at some point? Some people say it doesn't even exist, but how do you navigate balancing all the different things in your life?
Oh yeah, dude, I am so this is so hard. This is like something that I struggle with every single day. Like I think that I like to do a lot of things, and I like to um like the relationships I have are pretty deep, and like they take time to like connect with those people. And yeah, I'm like working on wedding planning, and I'm an engineer, so I work like a normal like 8 to 5 or whatever job. I don't know how people who have like kids and dogs like do this, because I don't have either of those. It's just me and my
I feel
fiance,
overwhelmed.
and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, this is hard, and this is something that I am just like trying to figure out, especially being like newer in
Mhm.
this in the last year. And so I think um, I'm really excited about training, and I'm really like so like excited to dive in, and I'm trying to be careful not to like let other things fall by the wayside. And what I'm talking about is like my basic needs, like
Yeah,
sleeping and
totally.
eating. because for me, like, I want to do all these things. I want to hang out with these people. I want to do these races. I want to get my workouts in. I want to eat healthy and I want to get all the sleep. And there's just like not time for everything all the time. And then yeah, I have to work obviously, boo. But so finding the balance for me is like I do my training in the morning, and that helps me just like start off my day right,
Yeah.
and doesn't allow me to kind of like, if I do my training in the afternoon, like I will figure out a way not to do it
Yep.
or like I'll just be like tired and exhausted. So um I'll have to peel myself out of bed, but once I get there, like that usually goes really well, and um that keeps me kind of on track for the day. And I think I can get overwhelmed easily, and I like to kind of be in control of my life and my routine. And um so what's been challenging for me is like uh checking my priorities, I guess. And since I am so excited about like this training stuff and I'm just like so into it, I have to just like check my priorities and make sure that what I'm doing is is good for me and it's positive and it's like serving me well, and just figuring out like what I need. Like, do I need to skip this so I can go to bed? Do I need to like shift my plans so I can make sure I have enough time to like make dinner or whatever?
Mhm.
And ask for help where I need it, you know?
Yeah. It sounds like, I mean, I think that's really powerful is stating your priorities out loud. This is what you say is important. Now take a look at where you're spending your time just in the
Mhm.
last day, the last week. And if you're saying this is important, but yet you've spent no time with this person or on this activity, is it really that important to you?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of dissonance comes about. And you have to really go back and take a look at, okay, how can I maybe even these things out? And I think that's just the thing for everyone to know is like balance is unrealistic. There's going to be some weeks where you need to focus on some places more than others, and that's totally okay. I think it's also when we talk about letting go, it's letting go of expectations of yourself
Mhm.
to be at 100% and firing crazy amazing in all of these different ways. Like we can't be firing on all cylinders and everything. That's how we burn
Mhm.
out. So I think that's a great first step is state your priorities out loud. If you don't know what those priorities are, that's a big deal. And then just, take it day by day, knowing that some days are going to look better or look different than others. And that's okay as long as you feel like you're staying true to you and what's important to you.
Yeah, and I think and for me, it does like start with kind of that basic check-in with myself, and like being like, okay, first things first, like I gotta eat before I do this, or I need to like
Like my
um
comment before everything.
yeah, like I need a steak. No, just kidding. But seriously, like, I this is what I need to set me up so I can show up at like full at a decent capacity.
Mhm.
Like it really is a bummer if I show up at 20% to everything because I like that's all I had to give. But if I, cut back on one thing and I could show up at 80% to three things instead of 20% to seven of them or whatever, that is a much more rewarding experience, and I feel way better after that, and I'm not as stressed out. So
Totally.
yeah, just like taking one each thing at a time, and making sure that my priorities are straight. And sometimes I need someone else to like reason that out with and figure out like, okay, this is what I want to do, but I also want to do this, and this is also going on. And
Mhm.
so I kind of need to like just talk that through with someone, otherwise my head goes crazy.
Totally. I agree. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dave, for being that person for me
Yeah,
sometimes. So, thank
yeah,
you for all the
totally.
significant others out there. This is a high five to you for supporting us, crazy ladies. All right, Olivia, I think we've had people waiting long enough. I think we
Okay,
talked about what
talk about
happened.
it.
We got to talk about it. But even before the actual moment of when we stepped onto the course, I was nervous because I had just watched you do an individual race.
Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
each time I looked back, you were laying on the floor in a way I've never like. even after your first race, you were at least off the floor, but in the bathroom, doing what you needed to do. Listeners, all I want you to know, Olivia was in a rough spot. Okay. And so I was like, I had no ties. Like, of course I wanted to race with you because I enjoyed it, but I didn't want to put you into that space. If you weren't honestly feeling good, then we just don't do it. We have plenty of opportunities to do it this year. So let's talk about that. Like, how did you go from laying on the floor feeling like depth to being like, all right, I'm going to pull myself together and I'm going to do this race?
Yeah, okay. Guys, I was not in good shape following my individual. I was proud of my time based on how I felt. Didn't set a PR, but like just got a few seconds slower with than my other PR time.
Yeah.
But man, I felt pretty rough at the kind of the back half of the race, and I think I started to just like count myself out like mid tank push pull. Cause and now learning experience for me is like, dude, you were actually totally on pace, and you're just like psyched yourself out that you're going slower.
You were so on pace.
So I think I'm like confident that next time I can hit that PR. But um so anyways, afterward I like just really I was hurting, my legs were hurting, I was kind of dizzy and nauseous, and so I literally just had to like lay there, and people
Yep.
were coming up to me and like, you know, being nice and trying to help, and I was just like, honestly, I just need to lay here and don't look at me, don't talk to me for like 30 minutes. And I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was just like trying to shake off those crappy feelings, and I think I just needed some time, honestly. I just needed to like sit there and just like let my body talk to me, and like just sit there and like listen to my body. And I just drank some water, and then um so it was kind of nice because I had enough time between when the next person was coming, because you know how the lanes will be set up and people are chasing each other down, and I had enough time to like get myself together before somebody came up. But after that person kind of was getting close, by that time I like sat up. So I've been laying on the floor this entire time, but then I sat up and was able to like get up and cheer for the next person. And then so after I just had that time to recover, like just the energy of being at an event kind of heals you. People are racing and you want to cheer them on, and I think that energy just like fueled me a bit. And took a break in between, and I remember like pretty much like 10 minutes after, you were like, we don't have to do the teams race if you look sick, and I was like, I am sick. Like
Yeah.
I was like pouting, but at the same time I was like, no, like I can do this, and this is gonna happen today.
Yeah.
So yeah, between that and um I guess there was some chaos before we started to. There was like, Kayla's running this event for like the listeners. Like Kayla's running the event, and everybody is pretty much like just waiting for her to tell them when to go. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of coordinating the whole thing, and so it becomes difficult when it's if she's trying to compete. Like everyone's like, where do we go? What do we do? We don't know.
I can't
So
get a proper warm up in.
yeah, no, like Kayla's trying to like warm up, and I'm like, then she like leaves, and I'm like, where'd she go? And then we both have to pee, and then we come back, and the lane we were gonna use is being used, and yeah, there was like some chaos with a new team who was brand new, and they were really ripping it off the bat, and
Yeah.
you could tell it wasn't gonna end well. But so we had some laps, but like just did not do the normal routine that we would normally do.
And I think that that's so important to note is if things are not perfect, especially in those moments leading up to it, we think we count ourselves out and we tell ourselves a story that it's just not in the cards for today. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's anything that I've come to recognize, it's like when I went to World Championships, I remember how sick I was before the ruck.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm going to vomit if I try to do this. And I did what you did, which is listen to the body, just tried to work through it and not try to create any stories about what was going on, and then just allow for myself to do what I do to go into that zone. And so we had that good moment right before when we realized, okay, I haven't gotten a proper warm up in. Olivia about died earlier this morning. We have no idea what's happening in front of us and if we're going to catch up to them because they're having an explosive moment on the course right now. And it's like, okay, nothing is making sense or lining up, but we're just going to hug this out and we're just going to do what we do. And that's exactly what we did. And I'll share my thoughts on this. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts like about the race. Like through it, I felt good. I didn't feel like I was moving as fast as normal. I felt like, there were some transitions that were good and some transitions that were rusty just because we haven't done it in a while. But when we got off the bike and stuff, and I was like, I don't know where we're at. I don't know if we're on pace for anything right now, but I just want to push to whatever I have left to give, regardless of what happens. And so it was kind of, again, going back to that, let's not create stories on what could potentially be happening. Don't get tripped up in maybe the one rep or we lost one of the straps on one of the tanks, right? Like, don't get tripped up in that. Just keep moving. And then before we know it, we're laying on the floor and Antonio looks at me and he gave me that look. And I was like, the hell does that look mean? And he says 10:02. And I about lost it. Not because I was like, how in the hell did we not get 2 seconds less to be the first one? 10 minutes, because that's been our goal for a while now. I was just like, one, we just beat the world record, but like I didn't know we were going that fast. Like I didn't feel that way. And so it's like when you're in the middle of races, you guys, you can't count yourself out. You have to just like stay in it, and you might actually be really shocked with the outcome. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on the race.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you had asked, like, or you had sent me over, like, what went into achieving the world record, right? And of course, there's training and eating and blah, 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 like those things. But seriously, what went into this was, like, a good attitude and, like, being present in the moment. Like, and letting go of the outcomes. Like, it comes back to that. Like, we were just like, okay, like, let's do it. Let's see what we can do. I think for me, yeah, during that race, even after having that like episode earlier, I felt like pretty good, and I was like, okay, like just gonna keep going. And I think I was rowing a little faster than usual.
Yes,
And
you were 138. No
like, I'm
problem.
gonna slow down a little bit. I'm gonna blow up later, but yeah. So during the race, like I felt decent, but like you said, I had no idea how fast we were going. Like like our judge didn't give us like a, here's where you're at, like going into the burpees or anything like that. And which I don't know if I like that, if I don't like that,
Me
knowing
either.
where I'm at. I've had both experiences before, and I don't know if I like want to know or if I'm like, just let me know at the end. And I think even when he said 10:02, I was like, my head at the end of a race, like I don't even know what the heck is going on. Like you can ask me like what my name is, I may or may not be able to tell you. And so he said 10:02, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh my god, okay. Like, and I saw your face, and I had that like that relief or that like moment of like celebration and joy around that. But yeah, no, I didn't have anything during the race where I was like, yeah, we're gonna crush this or anything like that. I was just like, we're just kind of going along, and
Yeah.
there was a couple like trip ups, like you said, like some of the like I was just like pushing the tank and the straps were dragging, and I was like, I'll get them later. Like,
Yep. Yep.
I don't know, I don't need them right now. So some of those things, and I don't remember in my head being like, oh, I'm like really, I don't know if I can finish this. And sometimes that does happen, like when especially when I'm doing like an individual. Like
Oh
when I
yeah.
have a teammate, it's a little bit easier because I'm like I'm doing less work, and then I'm also able to like push for that person. But when I'm in an individual race, sometimes I'm like, this is getting really tough, and I can get in my head a little bit. But during that teams race, I don't think I was in my head at all, and we were just going, and it felt great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you had that because I was in my head on the bike. Like when you were doing the farmers, I was like, I don't have the whip that I normally have to rev this bike up, but I was like, stay calm. You
Mhm.
just need to make it to your number, and Olivia is going to be right there, and we're going to just fly after this point. And I know I actually don't know if I went any faster, if I went slower, if I was just the same pace, but it was like that quick of a second where you just have to reframe. And
Mhm.
people ask me all the time, how do you do that? And it's like, because you put yourself in these situations so often that it just becomes secondhand nature. And people think that, well, if I don't have these thoughts, if I don't have these stories or regrets, that that's when they finally made it and they have a strong mindset. And I totally disagree. I think it's, you're inevitably going to have them. It's
Mhm.
inevitably going to feel like crap. It's, can you reframe it and think of something different that's going to help you charge forward in the goal that you're after? And so, I agree with you. I contribute what we did to not the fact that we had the most flawless, perfect race. Like Kevin and I at World Championships, we had batons flying and tripping over. I got ran over by someone, literally tackled. That was not our fastest time. That was not our perfect race. But it's the chemistry that we have and our ability to adapt and our mindset where it's just like not a big deal, on to the next, and to stay super present. So I know that that means a lot to me. What does this mean to you to like accomplish something like this?
I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
guys, this is so insane. And truly, like a year ago, I would literally not believe at all that that's what we would have done this weekend, and that that would have even been an opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that just goes back to like not even knowing my own capability, and why I'm really enjoying the sport is like I'm learning about myself and learning what my body can do, and what like my mental health is at, like what that can get me to. And so like it's a great accomplishment, and I keep like, I've gotten a couple of these like accomplishments, the world championship and the world record and stuff, and every time I think like, okay, yeah, like I'll be in like a good place and I'll be at peace with that, but it just makes me like hungrier for the next thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. So being able to like enjoy that accomplishment and be proud of myself and
Preach.
happy for that, but then also let it like fuel the next thing.
Yeah. That's a balance that's really hard to find,
Mm-hmm.
is like you accomplish something this great and it's like, all right, how are we going to shave 2 seconds off?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we just had like over a 10, what was it? Like 18 seconds. Either way, we had a PR, and
Yeah.
we're sitting here thinking about, oh, how can we get those final two
Yeah.
seconds? Like we just did something really cool.
Yeah.
Can you just sit in it for a few seconds and actually enjoy it? So yeah, that's the balance, and that's the skill that we'll have to continue to work on as we go. But I think that that too is something for everyone to continue to take a look at.
Yeah, totally. And I wanted to say too about the like having kind of those negative thoughts or whatever. Like I don't think anyone's perfect at that, and I'm like that is something that I'm constantly working on. But I think for me, it's like a good sign of progress is like how long do those thoughts like stick around? Like
Totally.
in a race, is it like just 1 second I had that thought, or is it like during a whole station I had that thought? Or during the whole race. Like that's where I can start to see my progress. Because for me, I think they're always going to be there, and but it's like how long do I let them stay is kind of
Mm-hmm.
the benchmark for me. So yeah, and I think that goes with like the celebration too. Like how do I find the balance where it's like how long I celebrate for and enjoy that versus like when I'm on to the next thing. And really using it as like a tool to fuel me rather than like um, just be like an ending point. So
A hundred
yeah,
percent.
that's what I'm thinking about.
100%. Well, for those of you that don't know, Olivia is turning 25 this upcoming weekend. She's finally going to be able to rent
Rent
her
a
own
car.
car. Yeah, without having someone else having to sign for it. We got big things coming up, but she's saying that her streak of youthness or youthfulness is starting to end,
Yeah.
especially because she hangs out with all these old people like me. But with that being said, as you enter into this next chapter of your life, One question I like to personally ask people is like, what does strong look like or mean to them? Because I think that strong looks different for us, not between individuals, but in just different chapters of our life. How would you define strong right now in this season of life?
Yeah, no, for me, I think, yeah, like, strong is constantly evolving and constantly changing. It's like my definition is being like molded and shaped by my own experiences and then like what I hear from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Other people's experience and then their strength as well. I think for me, like what comes to mind is um, having a good understanding of myself and what I need, so that I can show up well and not try to control outcomes that I can't control.
Mm,
Um,
so good.
I think that's like a mental and a spiritual strength, and that comes from like recognizing when my physical strength like can't really get me any further. Like it becomes uh like that mental game of like, okay, I gotta let it go and I gotta trust and I gotta um just let go of those outcomes. So I think that's kind of what comes to mind for me right now is how can I show up as the best version of myself in that moment.
Especially
And
when
that,
it's not ideal.
yeah, especially when it's not ideal, like strength is, overcoming challenges and resilience through some crap. And so it's like learning how me personally, what do I need to do to take care of myself so I can show up and overcome that challenge and then be ready to go and be able to take pride in whatever outcome does happen.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. That's perfect. Well, I think that we've covered it about all, unless you have anything else that you'd love our listeners to hear before we take off for the day.
Um, I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me. You're amazing. Everybody should get coached by you and
This was not in the transcript, folks. I did not tell her to say this. Of
yeah, no, I'm just teasing, but yeah, no, thank you for having me on. It's been
course.
very fun to chat, and I love kind of digging in and seeing what we can come up with during these conversations. So
Oh, for
it's been
sure.
fun.
They're always enjoyable. And I'm excited to see what we have coming for the rest of this season. So it
Oh
should be a
yeah,
good one.
can't
Yes.
wait.
Can't wait.